All right, welcome to the first 2015 episode of Hooked on Drupal, and today's a Friday, January the 16th, and we are in much anticipation for the end of this month is DrupalCamp Michigan. So that is definitely on the topic schedule for today. So if you want a quick insight, sneak peek at what's coming up for DrupalCamp, some of the presenters are actually here. I'm Shane Sevo, and I am joined by Chris Keller and Brad Czerniak.
Is
that pretty close?
Yeah, that was the closest you've been.
To what?
I mean,
to getting it right.
He's not going to tell me if I actually get it right. But yeah, so it's going to be January 31st over at Henry Ford College, and the registrations are coming in. And we're looking for many more. So if
they dropped community.
What's that?
They dropped.
Yeah, it's Henry Ford College now. So I think that's a step up. Like, we are a full-fledged college, not just a community college. So great facilities. Did a little tour of it. As far as venue space goes, there's really nothing more we could ask for. It's going to be a great hosting facility. The sandwiches, I've seen a preview of the sandwiches. You'll like this, Chris.
Yeah.
I think they have roast beef sandwiches.
Oh, I get really excited about sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll be there.
You get the little mustard packet.
Right. So everything that you would come to expect from a conference experience, we'll have it. Swag bags, plenty of great presentations. I think Brad is giving the State of the Union keynote speech. Isn't that right, Brad?
You didn't
know that.
Consulted.
You didn't know that. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
sure.
I mean, now you know, and you got a little bit of prep time. But, aside from that presentation, I know that both of you are going to be presenting on different Drupal topics. And Chris, you're going to be teaming up with our very own creative director.
Yes, Mr. Andy Blanchard.
Mr. Andy Blanchard. Can you tell me a little bit about your presentation?
Yeah, so Andy will probably start because it's going to be about, I think we called it Tools for Modern Web Design. So it'll be kind of about our process, how we go from a mock-up to a full site. So he'll talk about what he does, and then I'll talk about stuff that Brad won't like CSS preprocessors.
Ooh, covered before with much.
I got an update on that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and then even CSS frameworks, so like Bootstrap and Foundation and stuff like that. And then I'll probably wrap it up with my new favorite thing, which is task runners. So it'll be on Grunt, which you can use to like compress your images on the fly, like as you upload them to the site, and
you
a bunch
were
of other
showing
cool
me
stuff. So
some of
I
that.
won't give
a lot
away
of
too many of the awesome
command line
things that it
driven.
can do, but
yeah,
it's very cool.
Very cool.
Save some time.
And not to steal all the thunder from your presentation, but do you have a couple bullet points of as far as how Andy and you team up on a design? There are a couple different processes. I know sometimes we get design comps from the clients, and it works in that direction.
Right. So I think we're probably going to talk about when Andy does a full design.
Okay.
And we've started to try to do some sort of prototyping instead of doing like a mock-up. So we do wireframes and then into a prototype that the client can actually interact with instead of a flat mock-up.
Okay. So
that's kind of, I think,
actual
what we'll talk about.
Hover functionality and
yeah,
stuff.
and so if it's a responsive design site, which I think everything we do pretty much is now, the client will actually be able to see that before the site's done, see how the sidebar falls, and see how everything drops down.
Okay. Yeah, so a meeting of the worlds of design and development. And I think that handoff, that relationship, definitely a place where there's always a lot of conversation about how to make that smooth, right?
Yeah.
Very good. And Brad, I believe you're also presenting. And we just posted your last presentation, which was excellent, by the way.
Yeah, I watched it and was slightly less disappointed. So that's that's good.
Yeah, so if you want to watch the web forms module presentation that Brad did at the December meetup, that's online and available.
Apparently, I'm doing 2 presentations. If you're saying I'm doing the keynote, I didn't know that.
Well, I may have just thrown that in for dramatic effect, but
okay.
we are looking for some sort of keynote opportunity. Is there someone in the community that we should reach out to that's like got that visionary keynote presentation?
Is Dries going to be there?
We did invite him, didn't we?
We forget to invite him?
Oh my
Shoot.
gosh. I know. I have him connected as 7 different +1 Google Plus accounts.
Okay.
You know, so one of them's got to be real.
Because, I mean, he's all right at those.
Yeah, I've heard that some people listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm totally running over the first question I asked Brad.
Oh yeah, so I'm doing a presentation. It's called Variations on a Theme. It basically refutes everything that Chris is going to be talking about. There will be no CSS frameworks. I may touch on the limited use of CSS preprocessors because I may be getting to that point in a certain...
He's growing up.
Yeah. At the same time, I think one of my next theming projects will involve the color module, which sort of supersedes what I would use CSS preprocessors for. So I don't know. But it'll be very opinionated. I may raise my voice at certain parts in the presentation.
I think
for
passion
emphasis,
is good
yeah.
for a presentation. Now, I mean, Chris is a little bit more subtle, perhaps.
Yeah, it'll be this tone the whole time. I apologize.
But you will be contending directly against Brad's presentation.
Perhaps,
You
I
just
don't
won't know it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do them at the same time.
We agree on I believe that we agree on a lot of the fundamental things. So when I'm talking about templates and stuff, like you want to have one page template and one HTML template.
Okay.
The further down that you do stuff, like if you do it at a field level then rather than at a node level, it's probably better than if you were to do it at the node level, blah, 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 stuff like that. So those are the sort of things that I think that Chris and I agree about, how we structure our CSS and what tools we use in conjunction with that. I mean, that's personal preference. As long as you have a good thing coming out of it, what does it matter?
Sure.
At the same time, I'm going to tell you the right way to do it. So.
It's good to have an opinion, right? I mean,
Yeah, as long as it's
as
right.
long as you're right.
Yeah.
which is helpful. Yeah.
I've gotten good vindication this week because I got a theme done in like half an hour. It was crazy.
Versus, I mean, what do you think it would take? I mean, Chris, can you match that in speed?
I'm just going to say yes. I don't know what his
Well, you
project
might have
was.
to go
You know what would be
head-to-head.
fun is to have a split screen showdown.
I think I would crack under the pressure. I think I would just like forget what to type.
That's not fair. I can do anything fast. Like if somebody's like, I bet you can't do that, I'd try my
Which is,
damnedest.
and I've experienced the Slim Shady presentation, and I believe it. So
Yeah.
when it comes down to speed, Brad's got
wins.
presentation
Yeah.
chops there. Very impressive. Okay, so that's 2 presentations. Was there anything else on the list? I think our other lead developer and trainer, Dan Reindeers, is going to be presenting as well, right?
Yeah.
How am I doing on that
it's
name
a-
presentation?
It is a Git and
Features.
features
Okay.
presentation, which is very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know much of anything about Git, and that's what separates me from the players, right? Like,
That
Yeah.
Joomla,
I'm
yeah.
just
that
kind
is-
of a Joomla hack. It's okay. You can tell me. You can tell me where I am. I understand.
No, there's a lot
I'm
of
learning.
Drupal developers that don't use Git either. It's something you should be using.
That's a really loose usage of the word developer, though.
So is that what separates a developer from
Yeah.
just
I don't
a,
know. It's messing.
just a guy?
No, Dan did inform me one day. He was like, "Well, you're actually a site builder."
He put you in your place.
I think so. He may not have even like meant it directly at me. It was like tangential, but I got it. Like I understood. Like
we have, the developer room. I mean, one of the mantras, and we should probably have a sign for it, is words have meaning. So we're not going to let people, like, we're pedantic in that room. We're not going to let people get away with that.
Holding it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. Yeah, real quick, I think I could bring up just the list, and maybe I'll flash up on podcast screen list of presentations. But so yeah, intro to Git with Dan, variations on a theme, Brad, tools for modern web design. That is Andy and Chris, and some of these other names I'm not as familiar with. Maybe you guys can help me out. Drupal and machine learning, a case study. That sounds kind of interesting.
That sounds interesting.
So Daniel Zhu, Introduction to Drupal 8 by Chris Luckhart. The Secret Life of Organic Groups by Wayne Eaker.
Which will be very...
It's Wayne Eaker.
Wayne Eaker.
Yes.
Very interesting, I think.
My apologies.
Yeah, anything by Wayne is going to be good. You should come... You should register for the entire camp entirely to watch
just
Wayne.
for that, yeah. No, the man does exude intelligence. Like, he doesn't even have to say anything, but when I'm around him, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling smarter.
Yeah.
Just by his mere presence. The Power of Drupal from a Systems Perspective, that's from Zach Schlemmer. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And Building Mobile Apps by Example, Tyler Frankenstein. Entities in Drupal 7 and the Entity API, J.D. Leonard. And I think that's pretty much everybody we have on tap right now. There might be a couple more sessions coming in if you are a local Drupal developer and or web designer and you think you have a Drupal-centric presentation that you could bring. There might still be room to get in. We're going to have 2 tracks, I'm almost certain, for a beginner and advanced track, and probably have a couple with some overlap.
We're going to have some Birds of a Feather sessions or any of that sort of stuff.
Tell me about that. How does that work?
So Birds of a Feather is really kind of just like it's the equivalent of having an independent study hour in high school.
Okay.
And you just get a whole bunch of people together and they talk. And at the end of it, they don't even need to have a deliverable. They're just talking. But if they have something, they can come back and tell the group during the closing keynote or something like that. That's always fun.
So not even a panel discussion, but more of just an open forum kind of?
You usually have like a facilitator of some kind, but yeah, you want to make it so that everybody feels comfortable talking and figuring things out. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, having sort of a bowl of topics or something like that could work. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
No, we do have some room in the program, and we're putting that together right now. Alex and I were actually talking about a panel discussion, and it comes up often in the open source community, comparing, contrasting the big 3. So the Drupal approach, the Joomla approach, the WordPress approach to web development and design. And we have a representative from 2 for sure. I could bring some of the Joomla conversation, and we're trying to get someone from WordPress to come out for a panel. So whenever we throw that out as a discussion topic, it seems to get some attention.
Well, yeah, and nowadays, I mean, you've got your symphonies and your Ruby Railses and Django's and Node.jses and all the other things that you would build things on, depending on your level of hipsterism.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting. So for me, I mean, I understand those as kind of more core level frameworks, right? So a lot of the tools that I'm most familiar with, they've already been worked over quite a bit into a CMS package.
If you can install something and have a page that you land on that already looks like something, amateur hour.
Yeah, you're still in play school. Okay, I understand. But yeah, so it's looking to shape up to be a pretty good event. Our first DrupalCamp in 2015. We'll see if we end up doing another one this year. There was talk about it, but for sure we're going to do another meetup in the first quarter. Been trying to get in on the Detroit side. If anyone's got a good connection for a host, definitely shoot me an email. But right now, it looks like we might end up at Tech Town. Have you guys ever been down there? So pretty cool facility. Wayne State supported us just down there they host the Detroit New Tech. A lot of entrepreneurship, but pretty nice facilities. So that's looking like that might come through. But yeah, everything that you experienced at the December meetup, we'll bring it to the Detroit side and try to engage some of the community there. I know there's a lot of developers downtown now. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you feel like Mr. Gilbert's WebWord initiative to bring development community downtown, has that been happening?
Yeah.
I don't know much about it. I know he brought some fiber internet down there, so that's
Yeah.
always helpful.
Nothing to
bring
scoff
the nerds
at.
in that way.
Nothing to scoff at
Yeah.
when the gigabits show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super fast point.
All right. Well, in other important news for 2015, Brad did get a new phone.
I did get a new phone. It's right here.
So maybe you could show that off a little bit and tell us your first impressions. Maybe we'll take a couple close-up pictures of it. Or
Sure. It's a Google Nexus 6. It's a telephone. The only thing that it actually can't do is place a call. It's a known issue with the new version of Android that you can't talk on the phone.
Now, is it just crass for me to mention that as a potential flaw in the?
Well, you know what? I had an iPhone starting in 2008 and going until like 2012, and the number of dropped calls and the number of just really poor quality calls indicates to me that if somebody is on the iOS platform, they don't have that much room to talk.
Okay. So yeah, when you can make a phone call, which is going to happen probably pretty soon.
Next software update.
Yeah, just wait a few days. Then it's going to be crystal clear communications.
Like they're in the room.
Right.
I kind of consider not being able to make a phone call a feature.
Yeah, I'm really.
And maybe they're just phasing that out, so they'll use like more data.
Anybody who
Right.
calls my phone will be sent to my voicemail, and then Google will transcribe my voicemail poorly, and it'll just land in my Hangouts inbox. So I consider that a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have some entertainment as you translate the English into whatever it might have been,
Right.
and you give people calls back that are like,
Oh, not a call. I text them
oh,
back
you
and
text
say,
them back,
yeah,
and what
why
the
are
crap
you
is
calling
this?
me?
Yeah, do you know me?
Yeah. But an interesting transition point. I mean, phone numbers are one of those things that, such an analog holdover, right? Like, it seems like the kind of thing we could never be done with. But if there were a digital handle that was as ubiquitous as,
Sure,
as
it's
a phone number.
your Google account.
Yeah.
I mean, you can send me a message in Hangouts and I'll get it anywhere. It's just as good as a text, I guess.
Right. And I saw Andy Blanchard out there. I gave him a funny look. I should have invited him by. I think he might have went to do coffee.
shop.
Yeah. But we need to get him on the podcast one of these days, and have him
Get him on the video. 'cause
bring
he's
up the
so,
design.
He's so good looking.
Yeah.
He does
He's got
sport a lot of
beefy
great
arms.
fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he works at it too. Like, I was in his room the other day, and he has he had this little like device poking out of his shirt, and I'm like, and then his iPad was like responding to him with these little messages like, try better,
Yeah,
or
you're slouching. Stand up.
so he's got a Wi-Fi feedback of his posture, which is
It's impressive.
but he takes health and posture seriously. The only stand-up designer as part of the commercial progression workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Dan hasn't been on the ball very often recently.
Yeah, and we mean that literally.
Literally.
Like, he has a ball that he sits on. Like
Well,
an
yeah,
exercise
figuratively
ball.
too. Yeah.
Right. But I tried the stand-up thing for a day. I think I could gravitate towards it for certain types of work. I don't know if I could do writing.
It's the 15th day where it really turns around. Where you're like, oh, thank goodness
It's
I'm
15th.
standing up. Yeah.
So I've already missed it for my New Year's resolution. I mean, we're at the 16th day.
It's
New
never
Year's
too
is the
late.
worst
to
time to do a
start.
resolution. It's just the worst.
Just start on Monday.
Start on Monday.
Every Monday. Just
Every
say,
day is a new day.
Yeah. Well, Dan did show me this desk the other day that he apparently bought for his home office that there's a button on and it just like raises up and becomes a standing desk, so you don't have to move all of your stuff to a
Back and
to a
forth.
desk, so it goes up and down.
Yeah, no, I have seen that as
Could
well.
be good.
Yeah. No, something I would consider trying out. Okay. Well, I think we gave a pretty good preview of DrupalCamp. What's coming up January 31st. Register now. It's a whole Saturday event. $15. Pretty decent deal. Networking opportunities. All the local Drupal players are going to be there. If you got a project, a job offer, it's a great place to be, and a lot of learning. So,
well, let's cover a couple administrative topics. Is there anything in the distro world that we should be looking at?
I haven't. I haven't seen anything new lately. I haven't been tempted to try anything. This Debian testing is really fitting the bill.
It works.
I like it. Yeah.
Especially with Mate.
With GNOME 3 is what you mean. I think.
Right, yeah, GNOME 3.
Shane, you don't know what we're talking
no, I just
You have a
zoned
weird
out.
look
I
on your
totally
face.
zoned out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm imagining a lawn gnome right
Yeah,
now.
that's okay.
He's cute.
It's all right.
He's very cute.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
We made some progress on Rusty Lion.
Which we never talked about again after the first episode.
No, it's a very subversive project. It's way under the radar, but I did capture a couple pictures of it in process, so maybe we could leak those.
You could attach those.
Yeah.
Anything new we disagree about?
There was something, but I don't think I put it on the list.
We have a new area of somewhat agreement that I found CSS preprocessing somewhat useful for a small set of things.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too excited about this.
Right.
But I really am that he's saying these things.
It's
really making me excited, but I'm trying to just keep mellow. Like, oh, that's fine, Brad, whatever you want to do.
Huge concession, Brad. It's big. Big of you. All right, well, very good. So we're going to be doing this again, and we are looking to have some guests on the show in 2015. So if you are interested in joining us for a conversation, it's lively. You have to come with something to argue about. You have to believe in your position. You've seen how this works. I mean, this place is like this is the boiler room right here. But yeah, we'd love to have some guests out to the podcast.
It's like one of those news shows where they just like split screen like 4 screens and just argue and yell at each other. And
you have no idea what they're saying.
Like Crossfire, remember that show? Like, just make it like that.
That would be kind of fun, yeah. And we could film one of them first, and the next guy could respond to that one.
We could do like a Nancy Grace style, like Andy could be Nancy, like just like or a Bill O'Reilly even, like just kind of a firebrand, and then you have like Tyler coming in. It's like, well, sure, like that.
Yeah, that could be a concern, I suppose, for somebody. Yeah. All right, so all of that and more in 2015. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Hooked on Drupal, and we'll see you at DrupalCamp. Peace. I keep trying to end it with a peace. Like,
Peace.
I'm from Detroit. Do you do that here?
I don't.
We need to come up with some sort of ending
Detroit.
ending
salutation.
By the way, good, bad.
Yeah, that's
never bad.
Oh,
Never.
That's it.
especially if you're in Germany.
I don't know.